Let's be honest, everyone is basically telling you the same story. Go to a top university, get a degree, and this will be your ticket to success. And for a very long time, I actually believed that too. I myself studied business administration at the University of St. Gallen, short just HSG, in Switzerland. The University of St. Gallen is one of the most prestigious business schools in Europe, kind of like the Swiss version of Wharton or LSE. And it actually was an amazing experience there. The people I met and the networks I built, lots of them will lead companies, start businesses, or even change complete industries. But here's the thing, no one really talks about when you start university. Having a fancy degree is absolutely not necessary to succeed in life. Especially today, because in today's world you basically have the same access to knowledge, to tools, and even more or less the same opportunities without spending years in lecture halls. So in this video, I'll share what I actually got out of my university experience, the real data whether top universities still pay off, why it's not necessary anymore to go to one, when it's actually still worth it, and how you can decide for yourself. When I first stepped into my university, I felt like entering a completely different world. Everyone around me was smart, ambitious, and driven. So basically people where you can already see that they will have huge success in the future. That alone, the environment, was already a huge advantage. So overall, here is what I really gained whilst studying at a top university. Number one, a strong foundation for business. Due to the fact that I studied business administration, I learned how finance, operations, marketing, and strategy all connect. Even if you don't use the secret formulas ever again, the framework of it all was definitely useful. Second, a high quality network. And this one is obviously a huge one. People you meet at top universities usually go very far in life, and this means your network will become a long-term asset. Third, reputation and credibility. When people hear that you studied at a recognized university, they assume a certain level of competence. This definitely opens doors for you, especially early in your career. So yes, a university degree gives you a head start, but does this guarantee success? Absolutely not. In order for you to have more clarification whether a university degree is necessary, let's have a look at some numbers. According to OECD, people with a bachelor's degree earn on average 39% more than people without having higher education. In Switzerland, research shows that by age 30, people with a university degree will earn on average 7,600 Swiss francs, whilst people without a degree only earn around 5,300 Swiss francs per month, of course. So yes, statistically, there's a financial advantage if you study. But here is what's interesting. That advantage is shrinking. In the US, for example, according to the New York Federal Reserve, the college wage premium has decreased significantly in the last decade. In 2024, the difference between graduates and non-graduates has been the smallest in the last 15 years. And then you also have to look at the other side of the equation, costs. Especially in the US, a degree from a top university can easily cost 200,000 K in total. Even in Europe, where the tuition fees are way lower than in the US, there is still opportunity cost there, because you have to spend years in classes and you can't really sell, you can't really start a business, you're just not really out there in the real world. world. What's also important for you to know here is that employers change the way they hire. A study from LinkedIn in 2024 has shown that skill-based hiring increased by 21% compared to 2019. That means companies hire based on skills and not necessarily fancy degrees anymore. Also, top companies like Google, IBM, or Tesla have dramatically decreased their degree requirements. The signal is clear. The world is shifting from credential-based to skill-based success. Let's be real here. The internet definitely changed the game. You now have access to more information than any professor had in their 90s in their whole library. You can learn sales, marketing, business, or coding from world-class experts on YouTube, for example, on Coursera, for example, or just by working for someone and observing. Here's what actually matters more than the name on your diploma. First, can you sell? Second, can you solve real-world problems? And third, can you build relationships and deliver real results? That's it. If you master these, you will go further than 90% of graduates who will just follow the textbook. And this is where we have to be honest. Some people just stay in university because it feels safe. It gives some illusion of progress. But real progress happens when you get out into the market, fail, learn, and iterate. A degree can give you a nice title, but experience gives you confidence. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying university is useless. There are specific cases where it's still a smart move. If you want to work in consulting, banking, or corporate leadership, brand name still matters. If you want to have structure, discipline, and a network of high-performing peers, a top university will give you exactly that. And if you want to have a broad overview over business before specializing, studying definitely can make sense as well. Here's what studying at the University of St. Gallen, a top university, actually gave me. A solid understanding of how different things work together and a great network that will help me for years to come. But for you, it's important to be intentional. Don't just go to university because it is the next step for you. Go there because you already know what you want to build afterwards, and that degree aligns with your vision. Here's how I would think if I were 18 again. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what do I actually want to build or achieve? If your dream is to start or buy a business, real-world experience will be more beneficial for you than any lecture. Second thing to ask yourself is, what am I missing right now? If you lack structure or a good environment, university might be able to give you exactly that. And third is, what's my alternative plan? If you skip university, you can't just chill. You need to replace it with something. A job, sales experience, a startup, or an internship. And that's the difference between people who succeed without a degree and the ones who don't. The ones who succeed actually replace the system with their own structure for learning and accountability. So here's my take after going through a top university myself. A great university can definitely help, especially for network and credibility. But it's not the golden ticket anymore to succeed as it once was. The world today rewards skill, speed, and adaptability, not just certificates. If you are ambitious, curious, and willing to learn on your own, you can become just as or even more successful without having a degree. So no, you don't need to study at a fancy university. But if you do, make sure to use it as a launch pad, not as a hiding place. Because in the end, and that's probably the most important message in this video, your degree will not build your life. You do. If you liked the video, hit subscribe. I very often talk about business stuff, entrepreneurship, sales, or just personal development in general. So if these are topics you're also interested in, then make sure to follow me.